Hakadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Kiddushin Daf Amud Aleph 35a1. The Gemara is talking about, according to Shitat Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, that he says that also the man and also the woman is obligated in Lamed Amud Aleph, right? Also the man and also the women are obligated in Piryav Rivya, because it says that he's blessing him, right? He's blessing them, right? And he's telling them Pirurvu. So, Michael, what are you going to say then? If you're going to come and you're going to tell me that women are obligated in Piryav Rivya, so therefore it goes back. How are you learning the Ptur of Talmud Torah from Mitzvah Tazeh Shelo Zman Grama? So the Gemara says you're right, Mishum Dahave, because it's going to be Talmud Torah Upidyon Ben, right? Shne Ktuvim Baim Keechad. It's Talmud Torah and Pidyon Ben, meaning like this. Just like Talmud Torah, right? It's women that a woman is exempt from Talmud Torah. It's your children, your boys, and not your girls. And Pidyon Ben is only by a Ben, obviously. It's only by a boy you do Pidyon Ben. So therefore, in such a case, right, where you're going to do Pidyon Ben, so he comes and he says, and Talmud Torah, there are two psukim that are teaching you the same yisod, that a woman is going to be exempt from, right, the mitzvah taseh shazman grama, so you don't come and you don't teach from it. So according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, nami nehave piryav rivya umora, also piryav rivya, right? That means remember, according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, women are also obligated in piryav rivya, and mora is that women are obligated to fear their fathers. They're also two psukim laim kechan. And they're not going to teach anything. Yeah, which means that you cannot learn from them to obligate women in a mitzvah taseh shelo azman grama. So therefore, right, how do we know that they are obligated, right? Whether it's going to be in all other things. So says the Gemara, right? You need it. What do you mean you need it? The Torah needed to teach you both of them, the chiyuvim by women, whether it's morah or because of the Piryav Rivya. Di katav rachmana mora, if it would have only written the fear that a woman has to fear her parents, velo katav, and it wouldn't have written Piryav Rivya, hava mina, I would have thought to say, but it says it says you have to conquer, right? Which means when it says the you have to conquer the world. So ish tarkol ichlosh, only men go to war and they conquer. In avlisha dente, a woman that doesn't go to war. No, you would say no. If it was going to be written Piryav Rivya, velo katav mora, and it wasn't written mora, hava mina, I would have thought to say ish tesipek biyado lasot, a man because he has the possibility to do so, right? Remember, a man doesn't have, right, he's not incumbent, he's not obligated to his wife like it is his wife to him. So therefore, he could still do the kibud of him. So, but a isha, but a woman that she cannot do such a thing, no. And since she does not have the opportunity to do so, I would say, you would say that really the woman is not going to be chayavet at all. Meaning, even if she's a pnuya, that means she's not married, she still would not have been obligated in what? In the obligation of mora. So therefore, tzricha, that's why we need it. So, hani chalaman damar, this is good according to the manda amar, that when you have two psukim, right, coming together, you're not going to teach from it. But according to the manamar, melamdin, but according to the manamar that you could learn from it, Michael, what are you going to say? So says the Gemara, Rav Papa says, Papuna yadele letama dehaminta. The people of Papuna, they knew the reasoning of this. And Manu, who is this? Rav Acha bar Yaakov. Amar Krat says in the pasuk, Vayalecha leot lidecha zgomenecha. Vayalecha leman tieh Torah Hashem ficha. Meaning, we wanted to come and we wanted to learn. How do we know that a woman is exempt from tefillin? Because we were comparing the tefillin to the Torah, to the Talmud Torah, which was one pasuk beforehand. We said, "V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba meshivtecha," right? V'shinantam levanecha v'lo mimotecha. The pasuk of tefillin is right afterwards. But then you have mezuzah. We compare the tefillin to the Talmud Torah. That just like a woman is exempt from. That's a question of the Gemara yesterday. Yesterday we asked, why don't you compare to the mezuzah, which a woman is chayavet b'mezuzah? We answered because in the second parasha, it was also the same thing. In the second parasha, you have you have Talmud Torah in the middle. Meaning, there in the second paragraph of Kriyat Shema, Tikach Kriyat Shema, the second paragraph of Kriyat Shema, you have the opposite. You have, right? Then you have Talmud Torah, and then you have mezuzah. So therefore, you're always comparing the tefillin to Talmud Torah. So therefore, Talmud Torah, Isha Ptura. So if the Isha Ptura mi Talmud Torah, Isha Ptura mi tefillin. Mezuzah hi chayevet. Right? So says the Gemara, there's another reason why tefillin she's exempt. Forget about this one now because I'm comparing it to one. You know why? It says in the pasuk, "Vaya lecha leot elicha ulzikaron manenecha leman tiye Torat Hashem beficha." You're saying those words. So he comes and he says, "Huksha kol Torah kula letefillin." The entire kol Torah is hekesh to tefillin. Just like tefillin, mitzvah taseh shazman grama v'nashim turot. Just like tefillin is mitzvah taseh shazman grama and women are exempt. So to all the mitzvot taseh shazman gam nashim turot. The mitzvah taseh shazman gam nashim turot miklal the mitzvah taseh shazman gam nashim chayvot. Now that I have that they're exempt from the mitzvah taseh shazman gama, so you know that it's mitzvah taseh shazman gama, they're going to be chayevet. Okay, that's the way that the Gemara is learning. So one more time, we already know that tefillin women are exempt because we already made a kesh. But now we're coming and we're making a completely different mood that the women are going to be exempt from all other mitzvot which are like tefillin. Tefillin is a mitzvah taseh shazman gama, has a time bound. It has to be in the morning until nighttime. It's not a nighttime. It's not every 6 on Shabbat. It's not going to be on certain things. So therefore, that's what we're saying. So hani chalaman damar. I understand according to the mandamar that says tefillin mitzvah taseh grama, right? Why? Because you don't put it on Shabbat Yom Tov. You don't put it on the nighttime. But according to the mandamar, tefillin mitzvah taseh lo azman grama. What are you going to say then? So says the Gemara, man shama le de'amar, right? Who's the one that says that tefillin is mitzvah taseh lo azman grama? It's Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says, according to him, we don't have the ptur of the kesh of tefillin, but rather we learn that nashim are pturot mitzvah shazman grama, right? Binyan av from the mitzvah of riyah, right? When they go up to the Bet Hamikdash. The savar and therefore, according to Shitat Rabbi Meir, he holds shne ktuvim baim keechad, that there are two ktuvim habaim keechad. So therefore, there's no problem. Meaning, even if you're going to tell me now that tefillin are mitzvah taseh shelo azman grama, right? It doesn't matter. Why? Because then, according to that, you would tell me right now. So how do you learn then that women are going to be exempt from mitzvah shazman gama? So he learns it from a binyan av, from ulat riyah. Ulat riyah is not ulat riyah, mitzvah riyah. Ulat riyah is the korban that you bring with the riyah. There's a concept of riyah. What is riyah? Riyah means shalosh pamim b'shana yiraeh. You have to go up to the Bet Hamikdash to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When is that? Right? You have to visit Hashem on Shalosh Regalim. So that's called Aliyah Leregel or Mitzvat Re'iyah. Or the Korban that you bring when you go up to do Aliyah Leregel is called Olat Re'iyah. Okay, so therefore Re'iyah, you're seeing Hashem. Don't see my face empty-handed. Right? Everything is Re'iyah, to see. So therefore he comes and he says, according to Shitat Rabbi Meir, he says that these are considered two different psukim which are coming to teach you the same yesod, and anytime that you have two psukim which are coming to teach you the same yesod, you cannot actually learn from them, and therefore you cannot learn from matzah and hakel to obligate women in mitzvah taseh shazman grama. Now says the Gemara, according to Rabbi Yehuda, though that he says you do learn it from. So tefillin mitzvah taseh shazman grama. What are you going to say then? So he says mishum davai matzah simcha vehakel. Meaning, even according to the Shita, let's say tefillin is not a mitzvah. It is, but let's say that it's not, right? Because let's say that be'emet you would be able to actually come and put them on the other times or whatever it is, or even if you would put them on during the nighttime or whatever it is. But whatever the case is, yeah, the question is, right? What are you going to do with the fact that you could still learn it? You have so he says, no, there are three psukim that are teaching the same sort. You have the matzah. Women are obligated in matzah. And the Torah came and told you that, right? Simcha, women are obligated in simcha. And akel, women are obligated in akel. Remember, the simcha is simcha on Yom Tov. And akel is the mitzvah of coming up to the Bet HaMikdash after the year of Shemitah on the 8th year when you go on Masechet Kiddushin. And that's when you're going to come and you're going to have the mitzvah of Aliyah L'Regel, and everyone goes to the Bet HaMikdash, they listen to the king, right? And that's where you're going to have it. So he comes and he says like this. He says, right, as follows. He says, in such a case, right? So it comes out that it's going to be Shosha Ktuvim Baim Keechad, 3 psukim teaching the same thing. And even according to the Mandamar, that with 2 psukim, you do learn, but with 3, it's too much. And when you have 3 things teaching the exact same thing and you don't need it, so therefore it's already too much. You understand? I mean that we don't need, it's already too much. 2 psukim, okay, you can have 2 psukim telling the same thing. No big deal. 3 psukim teaching the same thing. That means obviously that you cannot learn from anything else other than that. Okay? We're on the 2 dots at the bottom of Lamed He Amud Aleph. We're talking about now all the mitzvot lo ta'aseh, all the negative commandments are equal men and women, meaning the only difference is time-bound commands. Some people say because women don't understand time, right, or the concept of time. But it's not because of that. It's just because, right? It's just because, at least you guys are awake. Okay, no, but some people, they actually say that it's not, right? It's not just because of that. It's actually because since women are obligated to do all the things towards her husband, so therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave her a ptur in order, because imagine right now, you come home, right? You just came home after Shachrit, and all of a sudden you want to have breakfast. And your wife says, I apologize, I have to start saying tefillah. Say, I want breakfast. I want tefillah, and it's going to be a problem. So because of that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he exempted. That's what Rabbi David says. Because of that, women came and they were exempted from any time-bound mitzvot in order that they should always be free in order to serve their husbands. So says the Gemara, but negative commandments. We're talking about now negative commandments. So he says mitzvot lo ta'aseh. When he says lo ta'aseh, menane mile. How do we know that women or men are the same in negative commandments? Meaning, a woman cannot say, listen, I didn't know that I'm not allowed to do that because I thought that I could do, just like I don't have to do all the positive commandments, maybe I don't have to do all the negative commandments. Say, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, says Rav Yehuda Amar Ishmael, Amakad says the pasuk, Ish or Isha, ki ya'asu mikol chatot ha'adam, when a man or a woman are going to do any chet, ve'ashma shma'i, and then ve'ashma nefesh ha'i. So it says over here like this: Hishva katuv isha leish lechol onshim shvatorah. The Torah made equally a man and women to all the different onashim in the Torah, and therefore they're all equal. So to do with an onish, if you see that the men or women are equal in onish, to do with punishments, so therefore obviously means that what? That women are not allowed to do any averot. When do you bring these sins, and when do you bring these chataot? When you do an averah. So an averah is a negative commandment. So the same thing, meaning the women, it says Yishu Isha. So women are obligated in all the negative commandments, right? So he comes and he says like this. He says, the Rabbi Eliezer Tana. Rabbi Eliezer came and they taught, Amar Kra, it says in the pasuk, Asher Tasim Lifnehem. What does that mean now? Asher Tasim Lifnehem. So he comes and he says like this. He says, Hishva Katuv Leish Lechol Dinim Shebatorah. Right? What does that mean? The Torah, when it says, right, all the halachot, all the dinim are equal, right, to each other. And therefore, since all the dinim, right, are going to be, right, the equal to each other, so therefore he comes and he says, right, he comes and he says like this. He says, since all the dinim, right, is equal to each other, therefore it's going to have different halachot. The Vechizkiah they taught, Amarka, there's another pasuk. So basically, again, we're trying to find different shitot. Why is it that men and women are equal to do with negative commandments? The first shita was Yishu Ishaki Yasumi Kol Chatot, meaning look at the sin, right? The punishment, and then you understand. The second shita of Rabbi Eliezer was it's all the same. Men and women, you have to put it in front of them, in front of all of them, men and women. The Chizkiah came and taught. Amarka says in a pasuk, right? Ve'emit ish u'isha. They're going to, if it killed a man or a woman. Which means that if right now, right, the shore killed it, so therefore you're going to chayav kofed, and it doesn't matter, imaragota adam, you're going to be chayav mita, which means just like harigat ish, that means the men and women are equal to do with any type of concept of death as well. And you need all three dirashot. So you have three different dirashot. Ish or isha when they do an avirah, right? Asher tasim lifnehem, which is equal ish v'isha, and the vechizkiah, which is v'emit ish or isha. So says the Gemara, we need all three cases. Why do we need all three cases? Diashmin and hach kamaita, because if you're going to tell me now the first case, which is going to be the case of lechol chatot adam, there mishum kapara chasmana achmana aleh. Maybe I would say, you know what, really be'emet, she's not obligated, right? Meaning that, okay, she didn't do it, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to have mercy on her. And if you wanted to have mercy on her, so okay, so we give her an atonement. What's the atonement? So the atonement is going to be, right, how do you call this? The atonement is going to be korban. Avaledinin, but to do with, let's say, money. I would say only a man. Why? Because the men do business. Right? The men, right? The bar masam matan in. Isha, the women, she doesn't go out to do business. So I would say no. Right? Why? Women are usually in their house. They're taking care of the family, taking care of the home, coming out and doing business. So because of that, I would say no. So that's why I need the pasuk of Mikol Chatot Adam, but I also need the pasuk of Dinim. If I would have only came and taught you the second one, which is mamonot, which mamonot also applied to women, because at the end of the day, if we're not going to judge them in these things, so therefore her life is not why everyone would steal from her, and she will steal from everybody else, and it would be a balagan. Because if you're going to say that these halachot of mamonot do not apply to women, so that's it. It's a free for all, right?
That's what she is then.
The pasuk says she is. Aval kofer, but to do with kofer, which is the third one. Remember, the third halacha was to do with v'mito isha isha, that the bal hashor has to pay kofer, right? Because his shor killed a human being, so he has to pay kofer. So he says aval kofer. I would have come to say lamed hamud bet, right? 35b. I would have come to say ish de bar mitzvot in isha lo. I would have thought to say that when a shor kills, he's only going to be chayav to pay back only if it's a man.
Wow.
Why? Because a man is chayav in all the mitzvot, but a woman is not chayav in all the mitzvot. So therefore, because of that, he only has to pay kofer because ki'ilu he took away someone that's doing all the mitzvot.
How do you?
So he take.
לא, זה לא קשור לסיבה שהזמן גרם, נכון?
The king.
אז אם ככה הוא יכול לנגוע בכל
So
זמן
he
הזמן.
comes and he says, right? A man is obligated in all the mitzvot in the Torah, and a woman is not obligated in all the mitzvot in the Torah. So therefore, since a woman is not obligated in all the mitzvot of Torah, you would have thought to say that the shor, right, is not going to be, meaning the balashor, is not obligated, right, to come and to pay the kofer. Kamashmanan that he is. So if you're going to come and, right, and if you're going to come and the Torah is going to teach us only the deen of the kofer, which is going to be killing of a man and a woman together, maybe what you just said, you know what? The Torah had mercy on her. Somebody just killed a woman, miskena. So you know what? She has to pay. Aval hani it's tarti, but in the other two cases, which has to do with the dinim, right, which is money, or to do with mitzvot lo taseh, I would say the woman's not obligated. So tzricha. That's why basically what we just did was we had three different psukim, how to learn how a woman is obligated in negative commandments. Okay, the first one again about the punishment, which is about the korban, when an ish or isha they're going to do mikol chatot adam. Second one, which is dine mamonot, which is vela mishpatim asher tasim lifnehem, and the third one, which is going to be kofer, which is going to be that if a shor, an ox comes and kills a human being, whether it's a man or a woman, it has to pay the kofer, like we're going to say like a lump sum because it killed a human being. And now obviously the Gemara is explaining why did we need all three, because if not, we would have said that really be'emet, women are different in whichever one of these three as well. Okay, fine. We're on the two dots. Lamed hamud bet. Chutz mibal takif ubal tashchit, which means women are obligated in all the mitzvot, negative commandments, except for three mitzvot lo ta'aseh, which is going to be bal takif and bal tashchit and bal litameh lemetim, which means a woman kohen is allowed to become tameah, right? And that's what they do until nowadays as well. Yeah. Okay. A woman kohen, she's allowed to become tameah, meaning a woman could go to the cemetery. Mm-hmm. A woman could go, even though she's a wife.
They don't know,
right?
As women, I guess. No,
that's something else. Something else. Yeah. Chutz mibal takif ubal tashchit. What does that mean? Women are not obligated in akafat rosh or shchatat peot hazakan. Okay. What does that mean? That means basically taking off the beard or the hair. They don't have all these types of isurim. So bishlema balti tameh lametim. I understand that right now balti tameh lametim. It's written in the pasuk. Emor lakohanim bnei Aaron velo benot Aaron. I understand it's a pasuk mefurash when it says tell bnei Aaron that they are not allowed to come lenefesh litama be'amav. They're not allowed to become tameh. It says bnei Aaron. Bnei Aaron means the boys, males, not females. That makes sense. But bal takif bal tashchit minalan. How do we know by bal takif and bal tashchit? Dichtiv, as it says in a pasuk, lo takifu peat roshechem velo tashchit peat zekenecha. You're not supposed to be makif the peat rosh, and you're not supposed to be mashchit peat zekenecha. Kol sheishno bashchata yishno ba'akafa. He says anyone that has hashchata has hakafa, meaning the fact that there was a juxtaposition, the smichut, the kesh, that they were both brought down together. I'm applying both rules together. Whoever has the avira of ashchatat peah has the avira of peat harosh. So he says, "Vehane nashe." These women, they don't have ashchata, right? They don't have this litzni ba'akafa, so they don't have the hakafa. Meaning, if the women don't have the avira of the beard, right? But that's ashchatat peat zekenecha, right? So then you don't have the head. So says the Gemara, how do we know that the women are not obligated in ashchatat the beard? So he says, it's a svara. They don't have a beard, right? Some women don't have beards. So if a woman does not have a beard, so therefore, if they don't have the mitzvah of peata rosh, right, of peata zakan, right, peata zakanecha, so then they don't have peata rosh as well, right? The amakra, as it says a pasuk, sorry, v'baytei makra, or if you want, you can actually learn from a pasuk, not only just from a svara. A pasuk, the amakra, the pasuk says, lo takifu peata roshechem, ve'lo tashchit peata zakanecha, right? You're not going to be makif the peata rosh, or to be mashchit the peata zakan. Mideshani kra bedibure, from the fact that the pasuk is changing, right, in its language, which means by the zakan, it says from the lashon rabim to lashon yachid, right? Because it says lo takifu peat roshechem. Roshechem is plural. Velo tashchit peat zekanecha. Zekanecha is singular. So mideshani kra bedibure, the fact that we changed, right? So therefore, if so we're learning from here that women are also obligated in ashchatat zakan. So nichtov rachmana peat zekenechem. If you're going to tell me that women are also obligated in the zakan, so write the same way. Peat roshechem and peat zekenechem. My zekanecha, zekanecha velo zakan ishtecha. Only your zakan and not the zakan of, right, the wife. And therefore, since women do not have the isur of peat zekanecha, they don't have the problem of peat roshecha. So says the Gemara, velo. Are you going to tell me right now that there's no isur lashchit et zakan? He comes and he says, Vatanya, we learned in a braita. Zekan haisha ve'asaris she'elu se'ar. Right now, what happens right now if you have, whether it's going to be zekan isha or a saris, that they have se'ar. Right now, even though it's not normal, it's like a zakan. And therefore, it's mamash zakan. My love, we're not talking about the mamash, it's like now it's considered that they're not allowed to take it off. Rabbi, no, lashchata, you can't say it's lashchata. Dialif peat peat mibnei Aaron, but we're already learning peat peat from bnei Aharon. Right, when it says ufat zekanam lo yigalech v'lo tashchit peat zekanecha. So male hala nashim turot, just like there, women are exempt because remember, right? We already said in order lokonim bnei Aaron v'lo benot Aaron. So therefore, just like over there, women are going to be exempt. So too here, women are going to be exempt. So basically, the Gemara is going to say, right, that really be'emet, it could be that even though there's a stira that we just learned from our Mishnah, that a woman is not a surah, right, b'ashchatat zakan, and we just said that maybe there is. So says the Gemara, no. We actually learned already that there's no isur. Right? There's no isur of ashchatat zakan by a woman also because of the peat, right? The gzira shava that you're learning from bnei Aharon velo benot Aharon. So says the Gemara, v'isviralan dechi katav bnei Aharon akul inyan aktiv. Do we actually hold that when it says bnei Aharon it means on everything? Meaning only boys and not girls? And that applies to everything, like men and not women? And that applies for everything? He says nishto kramine. So the pasuk then should have kept quiet, right? And we don't need why? Right, because we're learning it from a gzera shava, to become a chomer, and just learn it from a kav chomer. Va'ana amina, and I'm going to say, Uma kohanim shaliba b'hem aktul mitzvot. Kohanim have much more mitzvot than we do, right? So therefore, it says bnei Aharon, and it's always going to be bnei Aharon v'lo benot Aharon. Yisrael lo kol sheken, that also it should be the exact same thing, which means that the women are not going to be obligated in ashchatat zakan, which means I don't need then, right? Gzera shava of peat. I have a kav chomer. If Kohanim, they're always obligated to much more mitzvot than us. They have more mitzvot than us. There's a lot of mitzvot that only Kohanim could do. So if it's going to be like that, so and there it's only going to be bnei Aaron v'lo benot Aaron. So kavachomer then when it says Yisrael, it should be the exact same thing. So says the Gemara, ilav gzera shava. If there was no gzera shava, hava mina would have thought to say hifsik kanyan. Because in the middle all of a sudden it says v'lachoto betula la'itama, which means that all of a sudden now there's going to be like a pasek. You heard? Pasek. So once there's going to be a hefsek, and therefore he says v'lo nitma'atu benot Aharon. So therefore he comes and he says, so this mitzvah is going to be also in women. Yeah, yeah. So he comes and he says, So he says, if so, the words bnei Aharon is coming to be ma'et women kohanot, because if not, I would have said it would have been a hefsek. So hashta namine ma hefsek kanyan. So what do we say be'emet it's a hefsek? V'im mishum gzera shava. And if you're going to have gzera shava, you need it to the Danya. Lo yigalechu. It says ufat zekanam lo yigalechu. Yachol gilechu b'mitzvayim chayav. What happens if you use scissors to cut your beard? You're going to be chayav? Tamunumar lo tashchit. Has to be ashchata. It's not enough with scissors. It has to be ashchata. Yachol liketo b'mlekevrin. I would have thought to say I could take with different types of knives, right, which are using for achaka. You're going to be chayav. Tamunumar lo yigalechenu. So giluach is kol. It's a kli shederech legaleach bo. It has to be something that you normally use to cut the beard. So Hakei said, what is this case? Giluach sheyesh b'ashchata, it's a giluach that has hashchata. The Omer, this is what it is saying, zetar. It's going to be a blade, a razor. And can, if so, nichtov kra, the pasuk should say, et shebizkanecha, my pe'at zekanecha. He says, why does it say pe'at zekanecha? Right? We would have already known that the kavanah is pe'at zekanecha, because the Torah already was talking about pe'at. It says, lo takivu pe'at roshechem. So it says, right? So just say, lo takivu pe'at roshechem, ve'lo tashchit et shebizkanecha. Why does it say pe'at zekanecha? So Shema Mina Tarete comes to teach you two different things. The Torah wanted to teach you that the Yisur Giluach by Yisrael and Kohanim, right, are going to be the same, that women are going to be exempt and men are going to be Chayavim, whether it's Kohanim or Yisraelim. I mean, Mela, we learn also from the miut of Bnei Aaron velo Benot Aaron, it's also for Giluach. It's also for the shaving of the beard as well. So that which we learn, so what does that mean then? What is it? We just said beforehand, and that's how we started this Gemara right now, by saying that the fact that if a woman does get a zakan or a saris does get a zakan, it is a zakan. So what does that mean then? And we thought that it meant not to shave it off. Amar Morzuta says the tumat negaim, tumat nega tzarat, which means there's going to be a avdel between nega, whether it's going to be an or basar or bimkom sear. So the siman of the nega or basar is sear lavan, okay, and the biroshu vazakan is sear tzahov. So that means, is it a white hair or a yellow hair? If it's on going to be where hairs, it's on a yellow hair. It's going to be in a place of skin, it's a white hair. So the Braita is saying that if a woman has se'ar biskana, so therefore this se'ar is like a zakan, that it becomes tameh with a se'ar tzahov. Okay, a yellow hair, not a white hair. Tuman negaim be'dektiva, he says, one second, but it's already written furash. It says, v'ishu isha, kievo naga b'rosho zakan. A man or a woman, when she's going to have a nega, right, whether it's in the rosh or the zakan. So it's written furashem. So Ela Amar Morzuta, you're right. It can be the Tuma Negaim, it can be Mitzorah, the Sarat is written furash. So he says it's Letaharat Negaim, right? That means basically Zakana Isha is equal to Zakana Ish to purify her. Okay? That means she basically has to do Tiglachat and Sipurim in order to become Teorah. So she has to shave it off, right? Just like a man has to shave it off, and then he has to bring his Sipurim as the Korban, just like the man. So Tara Negaim Nami Pshita. Given the Batumai, Batara, he says, one second, if she could become Tmeah, she obviously should become Torah. So if she becomes Tmeah, and that's a Pasuk Mifurash, Isho Isha Kiyev Naga Berosho Zakan. So therefore, when she becomes pure, she has to have a purification process. So says the Gemara, Itzrich, you still need it. Why? Sal Kadai Tachamina, I would have thought to say Litztadim Ktiv, which means I would have thought to say when it says Isha, it's only for one part. Isho Isha Kiyev Naga Berosh. A man or a woman, that means you have the of tum'ah, or bezakan is going back on the man and not on the woman. So Kamashmanan comes teach you that the zakan isha is also like a zakan gamur, and therefore she also has to come and shave it off when she wants to bring her korban in order to become pure from the tzarat. Isi came and he brought and he taught in a b'gaita. Af bal yikrechu nashim peturot, women, which means women are also going to be pturot from the Yisur, likroach korcha berosh alamet, which means that they're not allowed to make like a bald spot on their head, right, for a deceased, as an avilut. So they're also exempt for that. My time adisi, what's the reason in Visi? Because he made a drasha. Banim atem Hashem elokechem, you are my children. You're not supposed to come and place a it's banim and not banot. So by the way, you should know it's actually incredible. This daf is Sunday's daf, which is Rosh Hashanah, and we're reading about banim atem l'Hashem elokechem, right? Which I'm going to speak about, which has to do with the entire concept of basically of banim and right harem kebanim, harem kavadim, right? That entire concept. Okay. So he comes and he says, "Banim atem l'Hashem lo tidu v'tzivu kol chaverim lechem lemet." So he says, "Banim v'lo banot lekolcha." Ata omer lekolcha eno legidida. I would have said today it's going to be kolcha, or also it's for the mitzvah of gidida, right? Which means that you're not allowed to come. The gidida is you're not allowed to make different groups. You're not allowed to. Well, here technically is the. Sorry, I give you the drasha. The real the meaning the pashut pshat is lot go to do is that you're not allowed to cut your skin off. Meaning lot tasim kolcha is don't make a bald spot. Lot go to do is don't cut. Don't cut your flesh, right? You're cutting the flesh. But we make a dirasha, don't make a agudot. But okay, but that's dirasha. So he says over here like this. So he says, I would have thought to say that it's only going to be from korcha or maybe it's also for Gidida. So can say Keshu Omer Ki Yam Kadosh Utar Hashem Elokecha Gidida Amud. It already says it. So what does it mean? Ben Banim V'lo Banot. Lekolcha, which means since it says Ki Yam Kadosh, women are also an Am Kadosh, but because they're part of the Am, right? They're part of the Am. They're part of the nation. However, though, so therefore it's only to do with the Korcha. So says the Gemara, why? Why do you add Gidida and you take out the Korcha? Maybe I do the opposite. I'm going to add in Gidida, right? Why? Because Gidida is even Minkom Se'ar, Shalom Minkom Se'ar. Which means like this. What is Gidida? Gidida could be anywhere. You're taking off flesh. So it doesn't matter whether there is hair or there's not hair. It doesn't matter.
Taking off or you're
right?
opening.
You're opening. You're scratching yourself, right? You're cutting, right? No. Any type of part of the skin. So you come again. It's avelut, right? But what happened is that when a person comes and they do it on their hair, that's korcha. So he comes and he says like this, Gidida. I would have probably applied it much more, but Gidida is everywhere. Korcha is only a bald spot on the head, right? Meaning in the olden days, they would come and they would pull out their hair because of avelut, or they would come and they would scratch themselves. They would do all these things because of avelut. It was a sign of avelut, right? So until nowadays, people are doing it. So therefore, it says in the Torah mefurash, lo tikrechu korcha berashe. You cannot make a bald spot, and not only are you not allowed to make a bald spot, but you're not only just to make a bald spot, but also you're not allowed to come and scratch yourself. So we just said korcha applies to the women, Gedida, right? Gedida applies to the women, but not the korcha. So the Gemara says, why though? I would have said maybe Gedida applies to the women. Why? Because Gedida is on everywhere, whether it's on skin, not skin, but the korcha is only on the head. So he comes and he says, Ve'ema, right? So he comes and he says, Ve'ema, and I'm going to actually come and say, Banim v'lo banot, ben lekorcha, ben legedida. I'm going to say, really, be'emet, it's all the same. Right? Whether it's banim, it's only banim and not banot. Whether it's korcha or gedida. So when does it mean now? He says, right? It says here, Beseret lanefesh lo titru mizrachem. It also says that it's not only, so srita is bayad, velo bilkli, meaning, lo titru was you're actually coming and you're actually using a utensil. Srita was actual scratching, right? Using your nails, right? You're scratching yourself. So therefore he comes and he says, since it says over there, right, the Torah comes and is saying that there's an isur of srita lamet, and this isur is saying that it's said in the so in order not to come and to mimaet women from the isur of srita, the women were added in also lotit godedu, which is the same idea of the srita as well. So kasavar isi holds srita ugdida achati. And since srita and gedida is the exact same thing, so therefore that's why he says that you don't need, like another mute or all these things. And therefore, according to him, it's only going to come to be mima'et, the entire concept of what? It's only coming to be mima'et, the entire concept of korcha, according to Shitat.